Hello, everyone. A show that I want to talk about is Wizards of Waverly Place. At its core, the show is about two siblings not allowing society or a family competition to be the family heir come between them. It's a golden child scapegoat dynamic where they both grow through their identities to try to understand each other. You know, growing up, I never liked the show at all. Like, I really disliked the bohemian style. I disliked the characters. I disliked the entire aesthetic, like the colors. Everything about the show just really annoyed me. And people were always talked about how the show was so great, about how it had like really long character arcs and stuff. But like Hannah Montana did that. Hannah Montana started doing that first. Her entire show was like one long character arc. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this show devolves into like multiple plot arcs by like season 3 and 4. The show just devolves into like multiple like serious plot arcs and like relationship arcs, and like Hannah Montana was already doing that. But anyway, for context, the show follows like a Mexican-Italian family, which is a first for Disney. I feel like they're more culturally Italian. It's like the fact that the characters in universe identify more with their Mexican side, which I find funny. The show's main theme is actually about 3 siblings if they can overcome their family dysfunction and not have it turn them against each other. The one thing that I find interesting, in the very final episode when Alex costs them all their powers, they all start basically bullying Alex, truly showing the worst aspect of that dynamic where Max and Justin start bullying Alex. It's very disturbing. Like, you really see them actually just start to straight up like scapegoat her, like which is very exact. They come together and fix it afterwards, but it's still messed up. And then there's one episode where it's Aunt Megan, which I really like, which is probably one of my favorite episodes. This is an episode where we see Jerry's siblings, which are also like a parallel towards them, because Jerry is the Justin of his family, and Megan is obviously the Alex, and Kelbo is like the dumb one. He's Max, basically. And it really shows how the family wizard competition destroyed their family. Megan has like a hatred towards Jerry, and they're all dysfunctional. It's a lot more complicated, and that's basically a future look at the characters if they don't solve their differences, if they really let the wizard competition come between them. That's like their bad future. And I just find that so interesting that they use that, and I think that's why it's my favorite episode, because it really just drives home the point of the show.
Megan, wow, you're here.
Yep, I'm here. Nice job combining 2 of your favorite things, railroad travel and eating.
The show basically is about the relationship between Alex and Justin. They're the first 2 characters in the billing. They're the first 2 characters that you see in the theme song. The entire show is about their dynamic, and how the golden child and the scapegoat come together to really understand that neither is actually as bad as they think they are. And the show has like the worst interpretation of New York I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, seriously, I've been to Waverly Place, and it looks nothing like that. Like, the set is literally like what a random outdoor strip mall, like in like Boston or Chicago, or even or maybe in Los Angeles too. Like, why did the show take place in New York? It could have took place anywhere except in New York. Like, it's so strange. And how can and there's no way the family can afford like the whole building. Like, they own a literal substation. How is that? Like, I know they're wizards and they can basically just make money out of thin air, but it's still weird. The show was banking off of Harry Potter, and it basically is Harry Potter with like more of like a bohemian psychedelic vibe that like I don't really like. And like, I guess because like I grew up with like a different kind of 60s magic, more like Bewitched and like stuff like even from the 2000s, like the Fairly Odd Parents. So that's my idea of magic. Definitely more cartoony, when this version is just not really my kind of thing when I think of like magic. The first 2 seasons are like a normal episodic slice of life Disney show, where the show later begins to delve into deeper topics as the show goes on. It gets like way more dramatic. Like, really, like watch like the first few episodes and then like watch like the last few, and it's crazy how dark and edgy the show gets. The show really expands like the Disney Channel universe's mythology. Like, yeah, the weirdest thing we had at first were just psychics, and now we straight up have like wizards, angels, werewolves, vampires. Like, and now the Disney Channel world is just so extreme that the show like kind of broke the mythos of this universe, which I kind of like, but it's still just a lot. Yeah, so anyway, let's start with the characters. Alex is our hero. She's the family scapegoat. She's treated terribly on the show. Like, I was rewatching like a few episodes and like, holy crap, they just blame her for everything. And she has like a huge conflict with Jerry. The funniest line from Jerry is, "Whatever happened to this dummy happened to this dummy," and it's just so mean spirited that it's just funny. But anyway, Alex is great. I love her. She's rebellious, mischievous, and she's one of my favorite Disney girls. You know, she's like the anti-Disney girl with as far as Disney was allowed to go with that. She's not really getting good grades. She's not super nice or polite. She's always doing her own thing. She's pretty rebellious. But she still has like insecurities, and she still has bullies, and she's actually bullied by like a typical Disney girl like Gigi, which is very interesting. And she likes to sing. Alex likes to sing, and she likes girly stuff. So she's not like totally black and white. There's a lot more like nuance to her character that I really like. It's like the best fashion sense out of all the Disney girls. Like I like every outfit she wears on the show. And her best friend of the show is Harper. It's funny because I don't like any of Harper's outfits, but I think that was the point of the show. It also shows that like Alex is a bit of an outcast because like she's friends with this other outcast. It kind of works. I can totally like buy their friendship. I don't like Jennifer Stone though as like a person, but I do like the character, and her acting's pretty good. The character's outfits are just terrible. The duck one is the main one that I remember. That one was funny, and I really like the episode where they met future Harper. That was cute, and I like the foreshadow. Like it was a cute establishment of Alex. It was a good cementing of Alex and Harper's friendship, and that it lasts until adulthood, which was very nice. And I think it has the best foreshadowing I've ever seen, where future Harper brings up, "Did Mason break up with you yet?" That is fantastic. That is probably the best use of foreshadowing I've seen on a TV show in a long time. Just having a character from the future casually bring up the name of another character that hasn't been introduced yet is fantastic. That's great. And the fact that it's related to Alex's love life is even more interesting. I love that. Anyway, like when we meet Mason later on, it's like a half dramatic irony because we know he's gonna break up with her, but he's also just such a great character in the moment right now. And you see for the first time in the show, this character is like actually genuinely smiling. Oh man, like it's so good. Like sometimes the show does have like really good narrative beats that are just funny. The first season is the best season. The funny stuff with the magic is just great. The one where she turns Justin invisible is just fantastic. There's like a bust of like Uncle Ernesto. It's just so funny. Oh man, the show. And yeah, Justin's a great character too. He's the foil to Alex. He's basically her polar opposite. He plays the responsible one. He's basically like the golden child of the family. He's a stick in the mud who's type A and very neurotic about things sometimes. He's a foil to Alex's character, as I said before. Ironically, despite being the family's golden child, he's the show scapegoat. Like basically anything bad that will happen to a character will happen to him. Like whether it's getting like turned into a werewolf or turning invisible or like anything else, anything bad on the show that will happen to a character will happen to Justin. And I think that's kind of funny. It's deserved because he's very aggressive and very unfun a lot of the time. And so it makes sense that it happens to him. He mellows out and becomes like a much better character as it goes on. But like, it's funny watching this character get a bit humbled. Max is the dumb one. Max is very simple. He's basically the lost child of the family. He's not really thought. He's kind of an afterthought. He's content. He lacks ambition and is just very simple. So the parents don't worry about him that much. And Jerry's a great character too. He's basically the kid's teacher, and it's interesting because the parents on the show are powerless. They don't have powers, and Jerry gave them up to be with Teresa because sometimes he can be a bit of a jerk on the show, but that is such a heroic kind thing to do. Like that's such a great sacrifice to give up your powers for love that it makes him more than just like a grouchy dad on the show. And the kids are significantly more powerful than the parents, but they still respect the parents' authority, which is very nice. And one thing I also find crazy is that like the wizard thing can't be exposed, and so it's another big secret similar to Hannah Montana, but like the secret also isn't a big part of the show either. Like it's almost in the middle of like Hannah Montana. The secret is like the biggest part of the show. Then there's Wizards of Waverly Place in the middle where like it is a big part, but like they just don't really run into situations that often where it would be exposed. And then there's like Raven at the end where like it is important, but it's also not that important. So it's kind of like a thing like that. Even though the Wizards being exposed to be much crazier, but like the show doesn't treat it with that much craziness. The characters can just erase people's minds and stuff, so it's never that big a deal. And I think the show should have let Harper in on the secret a bit earlier. I do understand why they kept her out of the blue, because like they needed more opportunities to have characters hide and do sneaky stuff. So once that was exhausted, once every secret identity thing was exhausted, they decided to just let her in on it. But like Harper being added to the show gives her more agency too, now that she's in on the secret. But now every main character in the cast is in on it, which makes it not that aggressive of a deal, if that makes sense. Teresa's the show's non-wizard and she's like a regular human, and she's the mom of the show. First off, the mom is just fine, beautiful. And anyway, she's the anchor to reality. She's the human character that humanizes the characters too by extension. And the show also, like, since the characters are half wizard and half human, like, she humanizes characters, making so the characters are more relatable just by having her around. And she's also has, like, a total aversion to magic and tries to keep the characters normal. And the characters go to church, too, which I find funny. Because you think, like, witchcraft would be, like, totally against the rules. But, like, no, these people are Christian, which is cool. And I like that she's, like, the healthier parent, which is nice. The characters can come to her for a lot of things. The show's much meaner than the other shows, from what I like, from everything I'm remembering. But this family does, at its core, love each other, which I like. But it also kind of has the same format. Jerry's introducing a spell in, like, wizard class. Alex misuses it or something, or uses it for some selfish gain or some scheme. It goes wrong. The other characters get involved. Everything gets fixed, and the characters learn a lesson. The end. You know, since it's the first Disney show to have 3 children on it, we can explore the family dynamics much more uniquely. And also, the show has equal gender parity again, which is nice. One thing that I find interesting is that everyone's first thought when they see Alex doing weird stuff is like, "You're a wizard." It's just weird because, like, every show specifically has the characters almost, like, completely catch on more than they should in real life. Like, Raven sees something like someone is onto Raven, and they're immediately like, "You're psychic." Someone's immediately onto Miley, and they're like, "You're Hannah Montana." Someone's immediately onto Alex and like, "You're a wizard." It's like, why doesn't a character go up to Alex and say, "You're psychic"? Or someone go up to Raven and say, "You're a wizard"? Like, why is it always, like, specifically related to the show that they're on? That the character just, and the characters seem to just understand exactly what it is. Like, and why does no one use the term witch? Like, I'd be more likely to say, like, "You're a witch" than, like, wizard. Like, the gender neutral term as a wizard, both terms are technically gender neutral, so you could use either, but it's just it's weird. And there's also one episode where, like, there's just like a 3 or 4 part episode where, like, they switch Max with a girl. And it doesn't work at all because, like, the actress has a totally different personality and looks nothing like Jake T. Austin. So it didn't work at all. Like, I'm like, this is a different character. This doesn't feel like Max at all. And she was, like, so grumpy throughout that entire, like, 4 episode arc. She could have just been a different character. I don't know why they had to just change Max like that. Max could have easily just went somewhere or just been at school, or he just could have dropped in those 4 episodes. I don't think anyone would, like, really, like, was really checking for if Max was there. Like, he's called the lost child for a reason. And the worst part, you know, the worst part about the show is that the wizard metaphor is just so vague. Like, what is it a metaphor for exactly? Like, I kept checking online, I kept looking, and, like, literally no one seems to know. Like, I saw one post that was like, it's a metaphor for secret wealth. And, you know, maybe they're onto something, because there is a line where Harper's like, where after Harper discovers their wizards and finds the lair, she's like, "This is where you guys do inventory," which is so funny. But, like, you know, it could probably be a metaphor for just being, like, secretly rich or something, which explains how they afford the apartment in New York. But, like, it's also a metaphor for, like, growing responsibility. That's how I always saw it. And just entering adulthood. There's one line where Justin's like, "We're wizards. We'll never be normal." I think this is, like, the climax of, like, the Wizards versus Angels episode, where he sits down with Alex, like, "We're wizards. Our lives will never be normal." Like, what? What is this supposed to mean? Like, what is this code for? How much does it relate to this? You know, and also I want to talk about the wizard competition, which, okay, so at the end, so the series is building up to this. Like, this is, like, the series' like, main thing, like how Hannah's building up to whether Maya's going to reveal her secret. This show is building up to the wizard competition, a competition to see who's going to become the family wizard. And the family wizard is basically, like, the only member of, like, the sibling group that gets powers. Everyone else loses theirs. So it's very, like, Darwinian and very, like, messed up. It's actually, like, it should have been, like, completely abolished by the end of the series. Like, there should have been a point where there's a reason why we're following this family, why we're following these characters specifically. And I thought the reason was going to be because this family was going to be the family that ended the wizard competitions once and for all. They don't do that. They just play the wizard competition completely straight, which they shouldn't have, because we already had, like, a mock wizard competition in the movie, and I think that should have just been, like, the metaphor normal one, while the one at the end of the show should have been the change. Like, there should have been, like, a change to the wizard world. They should have changed the world in a way. And, like, I thought they were going to break the cycle, but didn't bother. But, you know, I do find the movie interesting, though. It's basically the same thing as the Hannah Montana movie, where it basically acts like a pseudo-finale, where they exhaust the show's premise to, like, its final conclusion. Because a movie, there's only one place the movie can really go, like, from the TV show, what it was building to. That's like the grandest thing they could have possibly done. But, man, the movie is bleak. Like, I'm not sure if anyone remembers, like, that movie is, like, the most depressing Disney movie I've seen in a long time. The plot's very dumb because Alex just now has this big conflict with her mom that just never existed on the show. Like, her mom was actually like her greatest confidant on the show, and now like they have like this almost like collapsing relationship. It's so weird. It's so out of character for everybody. And then there's a point where where she tells her mom that she hates her and that she wishes her and her dad never met. And who wishes for that? Like, we all get into fights for our parents, but who literally says, "I wish you and dad never met"? That's such a weird thing to yell out at someone. Like, I understand the mom was being annoying about their anniversary or whatever during the thing, but like, Alex literally wanted to hang out with an older guy, and the mom's like, "No, you're a minor. Stay at home." And like, Alex is mad. But it's also at the same time, like, Alex's wizard powers, like, she's literally in no danger of anything ever. So it's also like a different scenario too. But like, the whole show, that whole movie was just weird, and like they did so much to get from like one plot to the other. It just felt very forced. But like, whatever. Anyway, the competition is deeply unfair, and like, I wish there was just more of an elaboration on it. One thing that I like is that the show does end with the characters basically like doing something different, though. They do, like, Alex is about to win, then goes back to help Justin. Justin wins, and then in the end admits that happened and decides to just kind of give Alex the victory anyway. So Alex wins. She wins both wizard competitions, by the way, which I like. And basically, like, Justin gets his powers too because Professor Crumbs, his mentor on the side, that like really respected his hard work and tenacity, decides to make him like a wizard himself. So they both end up wizards. So both siblings, after sacrificing each other, sacrificing parts of themselves for each other, and coming to an understanding that both probably deserve it more than the other, both end up getting powers in the end. So it's a very nice ending. I really like it. The siblings kind of reinforce their bond, and as we see in the sequel series, they're still very close. So they didn't let the family rules of like golden child and scapegoat get between them. They realized that they both were good in their own ways, and now there was really now there was competition. They were just one family, and I really, really like that so much. So, you know, after rewatching the show, like, wow, I actually did really like it. So yeah, all in all, Wizards of Waverly Place is a great show, and I think you should check it out. Watching it from this different lens could give you like a different perspective on your own family as well, and how it's good to not repeat the patterns of the past or end up like Jerry's family. So watching these siblings break the cycle of generational trauma and in this family was very good. So I really enjoyed that, really liked it.